Just want to say welcome. Happy New Year. It's beginning of January 2016. And this is my monthly branding clinic. I'm Sandra Koenig, and I've been doing branding for quite a long time, mostly as a graphic designer. I also want to apologize. I've had a bad cold. I'm doing fine, but I'm losing my voice, so I might ask you guys to speak more today. Anyway, today I thought it would just be good to have an open call where people can ask anything they want to know about branding. And no question is too basic or too simple.
Mm-hmm.
So, does anybody have a question on their mind? Anything you're curious about?
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
Given that one is often just a one-man show or one-woman show, rather, it's kind of hard for me to talk about branding even. It's just me, my name, what I know, my creativity, and it seems like branding is more something for like a big corporation because it is very hard to sell a one-man business. I mean, Square One Interiors is basically me. And if I step out of that, there's nothing else, right? So I'm wondering what your thoughts are on this.
I mean, I think it's one of the things that solopreneurs often overlook is really branding their business. Like you did brand your interior design business. You have a beautiful website that showcases your work. And I think it's important as a solopreneur to have a brand. One of the things that happens, say, I make a living doing this branding, consulting, coaching, but I'm also a coach. And in the world of coaching, a lot of coaches forget to really set themselves apart from the pack. Like there are all these people that just say, I'm a life coach. And it's like, why would you hire that person over another person? And there's a way when you start branding your business, what you want to bring forward is the uniqueness about you. What is it in particular about you that makes you good at what you do? Like, I'm curious, like, you're originally from Germany, right, Ursula?
Yes.
And looking at your work, I could see the strong European design sensibility.
Well, I feel like I've done all of that already automatically because I'm clear that I have to market myself, I have to stand out from the crowd, I have to underline, what my talents are that are different from everybody else. Yeah. So I've done all of that. Just it seems like the world has now just decided that there needs to be a name for that, and they called it branding. So,
well, that is branding. I mean, that's always been branding. We used to call it, when I first worked in the branding world, like my first job out of school, I worked for this big, what we would now call branding firm called Landor Associates. And back in the day, we called it corporate identity. And for years and years, it was just known as identity work, because it was the visual and strategic identity of a company.
Got it.
And for years, I worked on really big companies. And when I became a coach, I could see how I could help smaller businesses, too, come forward in a stronger, more distinct way. Mm-hmm. And I think you've already done that naturally. Like you instinctually knew how to do that for your business.
Yeah.
And that is branding.
Yeah, so I wonder how could I take it to the next level if I've already done these things, and you know what I mean?
Well, one of the things that I think is important is I run these branding groups and I do individual work with people, like Susan has worked with me, and I take people through a process where you kind of delve into who you are and why certain aspects of who you are make you good at what you do. Mm-hmm. And there's a way when you bring that forward into your communications, it also helps people connect with you.
Yes, absolutely. I see that.
Like one of the things I think makes me good as a coach is I've always had a really strong intuition. So when I'm working with people, I trust that. It's one of the reasons I became a coach. It felt like a way to use that for people, not just to sell more products for big companies.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel that I have already voiced that and documented it in my website, but that is inactive. It just sits there unless somebody gets pointed toward it. Nobody finds out. So what has been my big struggle has been to get the word out. And I have literally hired, I think, 3 different companies to do SEO and get on the first page of Google or Yahoo search or something for no avail. I've spent lots of money on it and it has never happened. Those promises were all empty promises and they didn't go anywhere. So I'm kind of like at a loss as to what to do to get the word out more strongly.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, how do you normally get your clients?
Well, networking, personal networking, face-to-face. I network a lot with real estate agents because, somebody walks into the house, they see an ugly kitchen, the real estate agent says call Ursula at Square One Interiors.
Yeah.
So that's how this has worked most of the time, and I've been, frankly, very busy with that. But if I wanted to take it to another level, like have several employees or so, then that is not going to be enough.
Right. And I don't know that search engine optimization is necessarily the answer. It can help. And the brand is so much more than just your website. Like the website is part of, just modern business. Everybody should have a website.
Yeah.
Even if it's just one page that says, this is my name, this is how you can contact me. Because having a web presence makes you look more professional. I mean, I know lots of people who get away without having websites, but I think if you're launching, it's a good idea to have something.
Oh, absolutely.
And in terms of taking it to the next level, I would think leveraging social media, like being on Facebook in groups with realtors or, I don't know what it would be. Mm-hmm. There might be some way you can more powerfully put your particular message out. And I know that you're planning to move back to Berlin, so I'm curious if you think you want to grow your business there.
Well, I'm thinking about a new business, so the whole question remains. It doesn't matter if it's my interior design business or if I rebrand in some other way. I still will be faced with exactly the same problems, and that's why I wanted to be on this call.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and that makes sense because there's going to be things you already know about yourself that are going to make you good at whatever you do next. Like you clearly already know how to run a business. Like that is such a great skill to start with.
Yeah.
And you understand the importance of having a beautiful website. And beauty,
yes. And I am also
behind you,
Right. So, and I'm already also on House, which is a very big venue for designers to show their work. I am on Facebook. I use Constant Contact to do blasts, but I don't do them very often because I don't want to oversell myself. I do all these things already, and lately it has not given much return.
Yeah, and I understand that. It's not, I think what you're talking about is less a branding issue, because branding is really the identity. Like, it's all your communications. It's having a clear vision and bringing that forward in whatever you're expressing. Mm-hmm. And maybe what you're talking about has more to do with having a marketing strategy. It's kind of the next step after branding.
I see.
I'm actually in conversation with someone about doing a branding workshop where we talk about both aspects because her expertise is that next phase. Mm-hmm. Like I really work at a more fundamental level when you're launching a business or you're evolving it, like how you clarify your communications and how you make that powerful, including, like I think you already do this. Like I recently met Ursula at a dinner party and, you were dressed beautifully. Like I would have assumed just by how you showed up that you did beautiful work. Like, and I think we all make assumptions. Like branding can go to that level.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
That you present yourself in the way you want to be perceived everywhere you go. Professionally or even socially. Because I'm surprised how much work I get even through.
Yeah.
Friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Well, I don't want to occupy the
It's
whole
great.
time.
No, it's a great question. It's a great
People.
question. And it feels like it's a bigger topic. And I'm happy to have a separate conversation with you about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm curious what other people's problems are or questions are.
Okay. Thanks, Ursula.
Thank
That's
you.
a great question. Do I need to do something to?
No, you're good. Oops. We lost you.
You can hear me.
Now I see you.
Okay. I think that's a great question. It's helpful to hear the answers to questions because I think a lot of entrepreneurs have really similar questions. And marketing is a huge one. How do you market yourself enough that you've got a steady pipeline, but not market yourself too much that you're oversold? And what are the right channels? Sometimes I ask my clients as well what channels they would find services like mine through, which sometimes gives a tip. Yeah. I don't know much about businesses like TaskRabbit and things like that. So for something like your expertise, but there are loads of websites out there. So I'd ask your customers what else they've used and where they found similar services.
That's great. Thanks. Nicole, are you a coach or do you do something else?
Good question. I do a few things. So I do coach, and that's why I wanted to be on the call, because I have some questions about branding as it relates to coaching, because I don't have necessarily like a physical, beautiful thing to sell. So
it's intangible.
Yeah. That. Yeah. But I also do, my full-time job is doing organization design and development.
Oh.
So
it can relate pretty closely to coaching, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got my website 1.0 up, which is fine for a starter website. I think I focus more on some of the things I want, the copy. And now kind of when I look at it, I look at the pictures, and I've gotten some feedback from friends and colleagues and things, and it doesn't quite match. And I think for coaching, I'm really struggling to figure out how you actually translate that identity of, what's unique about you, and, try and pick up this intangible thing.
Right.
How do you do that?
Right. I mean, and it can be, it's actually fairly simple. It's just often what I see is people decide they need to look like somebody else. Like, I'm part of this kind of large 3-principle community. It's a philosophy I've been studying. And a lot of people want to look like certain leaders in that particular stream of thought instead of look like who they really are. And there's a way, let me see if I can articulate this clearly, but there's a way, the more of you let shine through, the more unique you're going to be, and also the more connection you create on your website. And don't take this as a selling thing, but like at the end of the month, I'm starting another group. I do a branding group where I walk people through a process specifically to clarify that, and they do a lot of writing as part of that to get clear on how to talk about what's unique and your unique voice, and how do you bring that forward. I mean, you may already be doing that. I haven't seen your website.
It's not coming through in pictures and things like that. So it may be coming through in the language, because I think through going through coaching training and coaching, you do a lot of your own exercises. You test them out on yourself. So I've got plenty of stuff that kind of says who I am and what I think my USP is, and what's important to me. But yeah, it's kind of making that aesthetic match that, which is tricky.
Right. It can be tricky. It can be really tricky. Like so what's the main message on your website? Let's play with it a little bit.
Oh, this is a question. I haven't actually read my own website.
or here's a different question. Like, what's the vision for your business? Like, who are you trying to reach, and what do you want them to know about you? Just top level.
Top level is that I really enjoy working with people, and I particularly love engaging my clients in helping them design a life that fits their values and really motivates them, so they can kind of be the best versions of themselves. Mm-hmm. That's what really drives me. That's why I do it.
So what kind of images come up when you think about somebody trying to create the best version of themselves.
That's where I don't know. Like, to me, I don't know, I'm easily excitable. So it's like people like breaking out of something, like of the shackles of everyday life.
Right.
You know.
And the reason I wanted to ask this is usually the first images we think of are the most common ones out there. And what happens when you use those images, not always, if they're extraordinary images, you can get away with it, but it starts to look like it's a lot of stock photography. And it loses that feeling of depth. Because I would imagine, just in talking to you and knowing, like, if you're friends with Lauren, like there's a depth. I would assume there's a depth to you and what you have on offer. And so you want the images to communicate that too. Like, it might be, like, here's just off the top of my head things, like it might be just close-ups of faces, and you can tell somebody's had a moment of like insight, or they're so deeply at peace, or like what is underneath that feeling of being your best self. What's behind that they're wanting to experience? It's probably something to do with clarity, peace of mind, happiness. There might be ways to communicate that, because it'll change the feeling behind your message.
I really like that idea.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. Yeah, I can visualize that. And it does leave you with a feeling. I have a practical question as well about branding. Thank you for that.
Sure.
My practical question is, where do you get photos where you don't have to spend a ridiculous amount of money for a photo that you're good? Like, I want credit to be given where credit is due, but what I don't want to spend is like £500 on.
Oh, no.
Like,
I there's two websites I use a lot. One's called iStockphoto.com, and they have 2 tiers of pricing. And I think it's like photos are either, this is in US dollars, but they're an international company. It's like $15 an image for use for a year, or I think $45 is the high end. And the higher end ones are prettier. Generally, they're better, but I have some photos on, I think all the photos on my website are from iStock. Like I have a chicken that I love that was one of the low cost images. I also use something called dollarphoto.com, and it's $10 a month, 10 US dollars to be a member. For that $10, you get 10 downloads. And it's in, a lot of their images are lower quality, like you have to really look. Those are 2 good places to start.
That's helpful. Thank you. And of course, ladies, as well, if you have suggestions and things that you use for your businesses, I'd be keen to hear about it.
I'm very curious now where you are, in London or in England?
I'm in London, yeah.
I see, okay.
As you can tell, a conference room in London looks exactly the same as a conference room.
But you sound like you're from the US somewhere.
It's funny.
I am. I'm from New York originally.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Thanks. Any more questions? Those are great questions. Susan, questions?
I've got another if nobody has one.
Go ahead.
What about blogging on your website when it comes to branding? Blogging, I want to commit to it, but when, you've got your practice on one side, your job, I'm also getting a master's. I just don't know. What is your take on blogging?
I think if you feel compelled to write, it's a great thing to do. And it's where really knowing what your vision is and what you're trying to get out there, to have that always be part of what you're writing about. Like I have a blog on my Branding Harmony website, but mostly I'm reposting these calls and other information that I think is useful to entrepreneurs. Haven't really started to write. I'm sort of getting ready to actually write about branding and what I see around branding. I haven't done it yet. I have blogged when doing other projects. You know, I have other websites where I'm doing something specific, and it can really help create an audience. Like I was surprised. I did a mastermind group a couple years ago. Susan will know about this, and I did this project. You had to take on a project that felt impossible, something you wanted to create in 8 weeks, and I've never been married, and I didn't have a boyfriend, and so I took on trying to get married in 8 weeks, and I blogged about the process, and I had quite an audience following me because I was blogging on the website, and then I also was reposting it on a Facebook page I started for the project, because my hope was also if I reached enough people, maybe somebody would introduce me to the love of my life. That was part of my strategy, you know, was just get it out there. And it was a really silly and ridiculous thing, and I had a blast doing it, and I learned a lot. And I learned I actually love to write, which I didn't know. You know, but it was fun. Like why, if you feel compelled, why not?
Well, yeah, if it's fun for you, it's usually fun for the people to read it.
Yeah, and people would be writing me like, you didn't write anything today. Have you had a date? You know, what's going on?
Yes.
Any more proposals? Because I got some really weird proposals too along the way.
It was fun to follow and to hear about.
Yeah, that's how you keep an audience, if it's fun to follow, fun to read, of course, right? So I've been thinking about the same thing. Here I am. I'm like recreating my life, basically. I'm looking for the future self of Ursula. So what is my process from here on? You know, I'm going to leave the Bay Area in like 3 months, and I'm in the big throes of all these preparations, and I'm living day to day between being terrified and super excited. So I think it would make a good blog. I don't know how to set that up on my website. That's a whole other story. But I think it would be fun. And it's a good way to kind of pull your audience with you to the other country.
Absolutely. I think your move and everything.
Great idea.
Like a landing pad in a way, but your community kind of comes with you. Now, what I've learned in the blogs that I follow, and I don't follow very many because everybody's very busy, so it's got to be compelling to spend this time because everybody and everything is tugging at your time, starting from Facebook and whatnot. So, but what I've learned in the blogging world is that if you just blog about your own experiences, that's interesting for a certain amount of time. But you need to have something that is a takeaway for the people who read it, so that you leave something that they can use and then have a little trinkets that they can take out of it. So, for example, I know an author, and she has a blog, and she writes about cooking. She has a book out, but every blog is rotating around a particular recipe or a particular event, and then she gives the recipe at the end of the blog, which has been great because they've all been fabulous recipes, and I've tried some of them. It's delicious stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's what keeps people hooked.
Well, you know, what I could imagine for you, and this is just one thought off the top of my head, but like you're moving and you're an interior designer. Like, I think it'd be fascinating just see photos of your house now. You know, you could blog about all the stuff you're selling. Ursula was showing me at this dinner party some of the things she's selling because I was like, oh, I want to see because you're a designer. I'm sure some of the things are really cool. And, you know, and then like, what happens? Like you're shipping your stuff in a container. Like we all know what that, well, I know what that means. I've had friends who've owned stores and containers coming overseas. You know, it can be a really interesting adventure, like when it comes and what shape everything's in. And then like just moving, like a lot of your clients are going to hire you because you've moved. They're moving. So, I mean, like, and you're actually going through the process yourself. Would be fascinating. Plus, those of us here, you might be surprised how many people know people in Berlin. Like if you wanted to keep doing the same thing.
Totally true.
Or just meet other people, for everybody you know to know what you're up to. You don't know where that's going to go, and it's kind of exciting.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I would be very willing to do that. I just need to figure out how I can have a blog on my website and have people follow that, you know.
Do you have a
Um,
WordPress site?
yes, I do.
Then it should be very easy. Do you have somebody that sets it up for you?
No, I don't.
I can help you look through the back end.
That would be great. Like, for example, I've been to Germany this last summer for 2 months, and I'm there all by myself. I am exploring Berlin for the first time again after a long, long time of being there. So I basically made a little picture blog on Facebook.
Oh,
And
fun.
every day I was driving around, walking around, and taking photographs of all those different things that were different than here. Might have been funny, might have been interesting, and so on. And I basically posted like 10 or 15 pictures a couple of times a week or 3 times a week with tiny little explanations, what people see, because just the pictures alone, people are going to be lost. And I had lots of followers, and everybody loved it.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I did with my blog, one of the things I learned was I put most of the content on my website because I wanted people to go to the website.
Yes.
Like, especially if well, like in my Married in 8 Weeks project, it didn't matter so much, but like for a business, you kind of want to drive people back to your website. So I'd blog on your website and then repost the blog on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
So if people really want to read it, they're going to click on it and they're going to click through your website. And then if they're a little curious, they're going to click around, look at your work.
Right. Yeah.
Just builds a little more awareness. It's sort of a soft sell.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'd love to talk to you about, how to set up a blog on my WordPress website.
Yeah.
Well, another thing it would do to tell the story of the move, a lot of people who are not going to move think they want to,
Yes.
right?
So true.
And so you could really pull in a variety of people just because you're doing something has audacity to it. It's beyond most people's daily or even long-term stuff. I mean, well, a big deal to move across the world.
And not know a lot of people. Like I assumed
Yeah,
it was like
exactly.
home and you were going back, but no.
Are you from Berlin to begin with?
Nope.
Oh my God.
I know 3 people that I've just met.
Oh, honey, you've got a huge story there because then you can add one more person as you go. Or who do you know?
I know
Who do you know in Berlin?
Yes. Well, I have actually already seen lots of people.
Somebody in Berlin.
Yeah, lots of people already told me, oh, if you're moving there, you got to meet this and this friend, or you got to meet that and that friend. Oh, absolutely. That's great. It's already kind of
I've
mushroom.
got photos of coffee dates with these interesting new people.
Yeah,
Yes.
when you get there.
Yes.
I know I have a good friend who has a coaching contract in Berlin. I bet she knows people too.
That would be great.
I can see it blossoming.
Yeah.
Particularly once you get there as well, because you'll be experiencing all these new things. When I moved to New Zealand initially, I did one new thing a week back when I had energy to do one new thing a week. And it was just, and people used to tell me to blog about it. And I started to kind of send stories to my family and, the list got bigger and bigger and bigger. And people love living vicariously through other people. So, you're setting yourself up for so much blogging.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
I'm excited just thinking about reading it.
I can't wait to read about it.
Okay. Very good.
Oh. Well, and Susan has a beautiful, I haven't actually been to Susan's house, but I've seen images through the video camera, bought a house and completely renovated it. And so what that's about.
Oh, I do. It was before the days of blogging.
See?
Although a friend of mine told me, and I thought it was too far-fetched at the time, that I should put a video camera in my garden, which was over time, which would have been fascinating, actually.
Oh, wow.
Not anybody, because I stripped the backyard. There was nothing there when I started. you know, and I
Now
just
you have like a butterfly garden or something.
I have a butterfly and roses, antique roses and perennials and a few veggies here and there and whatever I decided to plant today. Which is not, some of it's organized and some of it's just a.
Can I talk a little bit about the branding work you and I have done together, Susan?
Sure, that'd be lovely.
Because I think it might help the other ladies. One of the interesting things that came up when I was working with Susan, like she's done this process I've created already, is her love of all things sensual. Like, and this comes up in her garden and other aspects of her life. And so I've also worked with Susan on her actual website, and the images are these close-ups of these beautiful flowers. Like, they're very sensual. Like, it's not even that the copy says anything much about this incredible sensuality, but you feel it when you look at the images. Like, you're invited into that world when you go to Susan's website. And I feel like it's very much an expression of her. I mean, she's also, Susan, she's an amazing writer. So deciding which pieces of copy to put on her website is harder than which images. Like, you have so much great copy. I think that's been the main dilemma.
Mm-hmm. What is Susan's business? Are you a writer, like an author, or?
No, I'm a coach.
Coach.
Yeah, I work with people to understand how the mind works because we misunderstand it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm going to show you guys her website. Let's see.
Well, it doesn't have much on it.
Well, but I can just show them the homepage and they'll get a feeling of.
Okay. Yeah, the homepage is pretty wonderful. You know, it's interesting when you said that just now, Sandra.
Yeah.
This is probably not something you want to put on your website, but I've got this idea that if there is reincarnation, I want to come back because I like the sensuality of being human. Everybody else wants to go away. I'm coming back.
It's beautiful.
Anyway, so you can see like there's a sensuality in it, or like even like this feeling of connection.
Oh, I like that. That's great.
Aren't they beautiful?
Beautiful, beautiful images.
They're beautiful images.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Anyway. So I don't know if that helps. It just there's a way. One of the things people often miss is the feeling behind what they're putting out there, the visuals, and it's everything. Like this three principle world that Susan and I are involved in. There's a lot of talk about the feeling, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, yeah, that's exactly it. Nobody talks about that in branding. Like the feeling really matters. Like the simplicity, like if you want to communicate simplicity or peace, you might want to have a pretty simple layout.
Yeah.
Versus, I don't know, say a Nike website for running probably has a whole different feel around energy and, you know, getting motivated.
Yeah.
I have another question about, and I don't know if you consider this branding, but I find it a bit of a barrier in trying to define what I do as a coach, is the term coach. Because what do you say? I'm a life coach. I'm a career coach. It doesn't, like, life coach gets a little bit closer because for me, this is about designing your life. This isn't just about changing your job. This is about figuring out what is most important to you and then, you know, creating the environment where you're going to thrive and do those things.
Right.
And to find the title I'm really struggling with, because you can make one up, but then people don't understand that either. And if you keep it as clean as coach, people think, well, do you coach field hockey? Is this and then you have to say like career coach or life coach, and I just feel like the conversation kind of.
I often don't even want to tell people I'm a coach because as coaches, there are a lot of people out there coaching who kind of give us a bad name. And like even somebody I've been dating I asked him something about coaching, and he rolled his eyes. And then I was like, what was that about? And I got to hear the truth of what he really thinks of most coaches. Um, and yet, it is what we do.
Yeah.
I wish there was a better word. Because there is a way life coach, at least where I live in California, there's like, 80 million life coaches. That's what it seems like. Everybody and their brother has trained as a coach, and
then not much training.
not
I was gonna
much
say,
training.
people don't even need to train. They just hang their shingle and then they say, it's okay for me to kind of
Oh yeah,
be responsible with people's like emotions and stuff. And
yeah.
just
I mean,
think,
I'm in a professional women's group, and there's a bunch of people who call themselves coaches who aren't, because it's kind of hip. And I apologize if any of you are watching the video, but it's one of the things. Like, I think I always encourage anybody I work with to really stand in integrity and not call their business something that it's not. Like, if you're not a trained or certified coach, don't say that.
Right.
And it's a bigger conversation in the coaching world. Like, I went through the Coaches Training Institute, and they talked about, the ICF, the International Coach Federation, wanting to create something where there is more standardized certification, so that to elevate the profession, so that not everybody could call themselves a coach. Like, Ursula could be an interior coach.
I am.
So,
I'm often even the therapist. Tell me about it.
Absolutely. I believe that. But it's like, but you're not actually you're in the position of doing coaching, but you're not actually a trained coach.
Right. And I'm not billing myself as such.
Yeah. But a lot of people take that tactic suddenly.
Right.
Because a lot of professions.
Training, Sandra, doesn't necessarily mean that much, There are a lot of. It's a wonderful thing and a horrid thing to be part of a coach of a profession that doesn't have any standards.
Right, that's the hard part.
totally
You
unregulated.
get away with a lot, for sure.
Not across the board. It's a good thing and a bad thing. It has both sides.
Yes. Interior design is the same way. Interior design is the same way. I mean, anybody can call themselves interior designer. Now, there are professional standards, but they are only a fraction of the community. So I often say I'm a therapist that sells furniture. And of course I do way more, because I mostly do remodels and stuff like that, much more construction oriented, but I also sell furniture and drapes and make it look pretty and all of that. So yeah.
So you do design plans for
You're a designer. You just do a lot of other things.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So then how do you, sorry.
In the early 90s, when like the Mac and desktop publishing exploded, a lot of graphic designers, like I'm a trained graphic designer, were worried that nobody would hire us anymore. But there continued to be a need for people who actually knew what they were doing. Like, yes, anybody could lay out a newsletter, but do it really well or professionally is a different thing. And I think it's the same in coaching. Like, somebody who's a really exquisite coach, there's just more on offer.
Mm-hmm.
And how you show up and how you talk about what you do is going to make a different impression.
So, and I guess I still have that question then. How do you marry that up with then, if you can express all of that in your copy, it's really hard to kind of have a website, because you want to have coach like that. You want to have those words being able to be recognized, SEO and all of that. So it seems deflating to me, like professionally deflating, when you have to kind of say, this is what I'm really passionate about. This is what I want to do. Here's how I can offer, to help you. And then my title just feels like not authentic or something.
Well, there's some way you could qualify coach. Like, you're
effectiveness coach or
something. Yeah. Like, make up something that really resonates for you, so it doesn't feel deflating. Like, that's the thing I really heard. Like, the fact that it feels deflating to you is going to affect how you're talking about it. Like there's something in the way there.
Can I give you some feedback?
Yes, please.
So I've had coaches that I started out with as a career coach, because I'm also totally alone in the United States without anyone helping me when I got here. And that has very often meandered into being a life coach. So, but what I found is in your website, if you talk about yourself, that has a certain merit. But if somebody else talks about you in a very positive way, that is way more powerful. So I have like little quotes of my clients, and I always keep it short, no long rambling story on the website, because that kind of comes from an unencumbered source, right? They've had the experience of your work and they appreciated it, and that's how they expressed it. So I think that is very important to have, the testimonials.
Yeah.
We play those up.
And I often find that people have hired me because they really resonated with one of the testimonials.
Yeah, specifically for something where you're selling something intangible. Like I'm really selling people the dream of a fabulous house before they ever can imagine what this looks like. I'm asking them to spend lots of money right up front. It's very scary for lots of people. So I'm clear, I'm selling something completely, I'm selling them a dream. And so when you have that, you need to have other people's experience expressed that are on the other end of that dream. They now have what I promised them in the beginning.
I love that. I love that you get that. You're selling a dream. It's the same with coaching.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you can, if somebody expresses this arc of what they wanted in the beginning and how messy it was and how they are arriving at the other end now through your help, that is what really works, I think, in a website. I have tons of testimonials, and I'm now learning here in this interaction that I should pull them forward. I should not have them buried on the testimonials page. They should be more on the front end.
Yeah.
So it's a very good takeaway for me from this whole session. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great feedback. I love it, Ursula.
So now I want to look at both of your web pages.
Yeah, what are you, so, Ursula, I'll bring up Ursula's. It's Square One Interiors, all one word, all spelled out, and with an S at the end. Yeah.
Square One Interiors.
All right, I'm going to show you guys Ursula's, and then I'll show you Nicole's. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm curious how it looks, because I've also had a little bit of a problem with.
Wow, that looks great.
Beautiful.
Like, look at these interiors. They are amazing. I looked through here and I was like,
I love the colors.
After I met you, and I was like, wow, the images are incredible.
Fantastic.
And you have an office in Honolulu?
Well, no more. I just gave that up last year. So this year I gave up my house. So I'm shedding all these belongings so I can fly over to Berlin.
Oh, look at this. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's lovely. They're describing exactly what they did.
A beautiful website.
It is.
So
Yeah,
Nicole,
in the portfolio, you see this more. This is just the header of each one. And as you see, there's different categories.
oh, look at that. Wow.
Oh, nice.
So then for each one of these pictures, there's a before picture, there is a tiny bit of a story, and so on.
Oh, look at that. Nice. Beautiful interiors.
Yeah, clean lines.
If I had a lot of money, I would hire you.
Well, that's sometimes been my drawback. People think this will all cost a ton of money. And yes, some of them have. And of course, I only photograph the ones that turned out fabulous. But there's lots of people who've hired me just for one room or for editing what they already have and so on. And very often in those slow times, those jobs don't come to me because everybody looks at the website and they go, oh my God, she must be expensive. You see?
Oh, it's just, I think it's just, I have friends, I told you I have friends who are interior designers, and I have a sense of the cost involved. Like, you do have to have some extra cash.
Oh, of course. You can't do anything with nothing.
Yeah.
Just like in every other profession or so.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, but beautiful. I mean, you do beautiful work. It's just stunning.
Well, thank you. But this whole issue about it being too expensive has sometimes been in my way. And it really isn't. I know for sure that I have made my clients money because they resold at a much higher profit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm
And
sure. Look at that. That's the before and that's the after.
Oh,
my
wow.
goodness.
yeah, and I have saved people a lot of money because they didn't make the mistakes that they would ordinarily make by themselves, and it was a lot faster. I mean, imagine you are remodeling a house, and it takes six months versus 4 months. You're paying the mortgage, you're living somewhere else, so all of that is expensive.
Oh, wow.
You see, so I know for sure that it's not too expensive to hire me.
No, I don't have any issue with.
But you have to convince clients as well, or like a lot of times the realtors even were going, well, I'd love to send you somebody, but this person doesn't have that much money.
Yeah.
I've had the feedback both ways.
I think everybody runs into that. I certainly run into it with my work.
Yeah.
And I tell people up front, like when I actually do design work, that I'm not the cheapest person, but I have a lot of experience. And that's what you get, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there is something about that when you actually stick to, you stick to your guns, you stick to your pricing. And, there's something to be said for that. People feel differently about what they're buying.
Absolutely.
You discount yourself, you're kind of discrediting yourself and your experience in a way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nicole, would you mind sharing your website?
It's my 1.0, but sure.
That's fine. That's
Well, in mine, we don't have to see it. I just wanted.
I would like, it's, I think, good to share because I already have a list of edits that I know I want to make. So it's always helpful to kind of.
And websites are the kind of thing where it's always a work in progress. Like I think the way I think of branding, it's like a living entity, and your business and your brand is going to change along with you. So, it's just where it is.
It's just where the story starts, I suppose. But
what's your URL?
So it is www.nicolebrigandi.com, and you'll be able to see my last name, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm
hoping I spelled it right here. Oh, here we go. Oh, look at this. It's lovely. 1 second here. Let me share the screen.
Can't see it yet.
Nice. There it is. Do you see it?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks very contemporary, which is great. You did a Squarespace site. Nice.
Yeah, I figured I just need to try this, and it took me about a day. So
I've heard good things about Squarespace.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
And it looks, I love that it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
It looks very thoughtfully put together.
There's usually a picture on that.
There it goes. It's just slow to load. It must be kind of high res.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons I need to change the pictures. But
usually there's something there's in the help files for a website. They'll say this is the optimum size for images.
Okay.
Because if they're a lot bigger, they're slower to load. That's all. It's not a big deal. I think this looks beautiful. What do you guys think?
Looks great.
Yeah, it looks good.
Nice photo of you. Here comes this one.
Laurel actually gave me some feedback on the photo because she said that the contrast, she asked me why I picked that photo, and mostly it's because it was the only one of resolution that I could put on a website that maybe was okay. But she was talking to me about a softer, kind of less contrast.
Yeah, I mean, you could have a better headshot, but it's not a bad headshot. I mean, people just want to see that you look like a regular person.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that you're human.
You're human. You look like somebody they'd enjoy talking to. I think it was,
I would maybe try to find somebody who can take out the background. It's very, very busy. And then maybe put a softer color in the background.
I would just get a new photo. I wouldn't do much.
Yeah, or get a new photo. But I think the photo is very nice.
Yeah, it's a nice, your face, you look lovely. Like,
Yeah. It's a great pose. You look very friendly. You look very, chic, very elegant. And yeah, absolutely. But you're in a factory of some sort. And that's kind of a little strange.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, that's useful feedback. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're like on a trade show floor or in a factory building or an office building.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little odd. I think it's because my friend who had a really good camera happened to take that picture. I need that friend to come back to my house when I'm not in the middle of a
Yeah, and some nice
place.
backgrounds are just like a wall that has ivy on it, or just a simple fabric background.
Yeah.
Like the painting that's behind Ursula, that would be a beautiful background for a headshot.
See, okay.
An abstract.
Because the contrast in color between the wall and the painting. It's lovely.
Yeah.
It works because I have dark hair. It wouldn't work for a blonde person.
Yeah, mine don't work for a blonde person.
Well,
Yes.
This is what the painting really looks like.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful painting.
It's by a local artist that I've worked with a lot.
Oh, nice. It's gorgeous. Are you selling that painting?
Well, that really takes some money because it's probably about $6,000.
Yeah. I would imagine.
I know.
I'm just joking.
And it's big. I mean, it's big. It's 4x4, so it's not outrageously expensive for the size it is and the stature of the.
No, it's not. That's not an expensive painting in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
So we're just about out of time. You guys have been really delightful. A lot of fun.
Yeah, this has been
Thank
great.
you all.
A really great conversation. Oh, somebody's joining.
Maybe I need to be part of the oncoming group once I'm in Berlin.
Yeah. Well, I run that a few times a year. I run a group. So
That's when the rubber hits the road, really.
yeah, and people get a lot out of the groups, and or we can do some sessions one-on-one, whatever. I'm always happy to. I mean, I really love what I do, and it's really fun to see what you guys are all up to, and always lovely to see you, Susan, of course. See you, Susan, fairly regularly. So if you have any more questions, or you just want to have an individual call, ask more questions, feel free to contact me. I'm always happy to just talk about what's up. And
Thank you,
I
Sandra.
might call you about finding out what to do about my website and add a blog and.
Yeah, because we could do it on Zoom. I could just walk you through it on Zoom.
I see. Okay, cool.
Thank you. I really enjoyed that. I'm really glad I dialed in tonight.
Oh, I'm glad you could make it. Nice to meet you, Nicole.
It's nice to meet all of you.
I
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it.
All of you, yes, thank you very much.
Thanks for the reminder.
And I don't know who that is, the latecomer, but we're just at the end of the call.
It's sorry, it's David Rose.
Oh,
Hi,
David.
Sandra.
We're just at the end of the hour.
I figured I didn't know how long it would go, but I just was busy, and I thought, well, I'll check in and see if I can pick up anything. So thank you.
Welcome, and I'll be posting a link or I'll be posting the video so you can listen in.
That sounds great.
Nice to hear your voice.
Same.
All right. Bye, you guys.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.